Hi, Gina. How are you?
I'm doing great, Tom.
Great. I'm obviously Tom Blubaugh, and welcome Authors Community.
And I'm Gina Burgess.
Gina and I have been talking, and we've made an executive decision here to invite you into our brainstorming session and let you eavesdrop on some of the things that we've been talking about because we're wanting to make videos to help you, and we suddenly realized that, wow, this is a good way to do that.
Absolutely.
We'd love to hear your input about, how you like our presentations, and give us things to talk about, questions. We want to know what you think. We want to know what problems you have. We're both writers. We've been around the block at least once, and we've made our share of mistakes. And there's really no sense in the whole author world rebuilding the wheel, or the what's that term? Reinventing the wheel.
Reinventing the wheel.
Right, because we'll all work at this together. But one of the things that we were talking about is some of the mistakes we've made, and some of the things that we've learned. And I was just going to tell Gina the story of one time I was an insurance agent, and I was an agency manager, in fact. And Gina, jump in anytime you got a question or a comment.
Okay.
So anyway, I had to go to, I didn't have any choice. It was a mandatory meeting in Chicago. And I was living here in Springfield, Missouri, and that's 500 miles. This is back in 1980s. And gas wasn't as expensive as it is now, but nevertheless, for me to go to that meeting, it took a week or 2 weeks for me to get ready to go, because I had to tie up all the loose ends of the business that I had. I had to make sure my agents were going to be all right when I was gone and all that. And then I was so tired when I left on that trip. I remember I got on I-44, and 9 o'clock at night, I couldn't sleep. And so I just said, I'm going to go ahead and go. So I told my family goodbye, and I got an hour out of town. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I had to pull off the road, and I took a 30-minute nap, and then I was good all the rest of the way to Chicago. But I was in Chicago then for, I think, 4 days. But it was a day getting there, a day getting home. So basically it's a week. So I was out of my office a week, so I lost an entire week's of production. And being on commission, that I didn't have any guaranteed income.
Right.
So I sat through that meeting, and the more I sat there, the angrier I got. And on the way home, I was just fuming. And I was just talking. I guess I was half praying, talking to the Lord and complaining to him. I said, Lord, I went through all this stuff, been away from my family. It's going to take me another 2 weeks to put out all the fires and everything and get back in my routine when I get back. And so I lost a good month or more, and I didn't learn one single thing at the meeting that I didn't already know. It's the same old stuff that I'd heard over and over and over and over again. And so the Lord just let me stew in that for a few miles. And then he kind of whispered to me, he said, look for the nuggets. And I said, excuse me? He said, look for the nuggets. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, when you go to a meeting, or when you hear a message, or you hear a speech, or you watch a program on TV, or you read a chapter in a book, no matter what it is, look for one thing, no matter how small it is, that will make a difference in your life, business-wise or personal-wise or spiritually or whatever. But look for that one thing. And I thought, okay, because I realized then that I had been going to meetings and looking at them as a full-blown overview, and I knew I couldn't even remember everything that I heard. And I remember going to another meeting one time where the guy was a memory expert, and he said, when you start to read something, and you come across something you want to remember, just tell your mind, I never want to forget that. And he said, read it with that intent. He said, you'll be surprised when that'll pop up in the future, you know, under whatever circumstances it draws it out of your mind. But he even said people could remember details of their own birth if they could think about it long enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, okay, all right, I'm going to try that. I don't know if it was a week or 2 weeks later, but I was in church on Sunday morning and the pastor made this comment. He said, anyone can cut open an apple and count the number of seeds in an apple.
Yeah.
But he said, only God can count the number of apples in a seed.
Oh, wow.
And I mean to tell you, I had that same reaction just like you are. That went deep with me. And at that time, an insurance agent, and for years, I lived on the phone making cold calls to people and referrals, and people would hang up on me and they would get upset. But I just toughed through that. I did that for 25 years.
So did I.
Yeah, so you understand.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went home and I thought, okay, I cut open an apple and I took a seed and I took it to my office the next day and I taped it to my telephone as a reminder that when I made that phone call, I had no idea what was in that conversation, but I was looking for whatever connection I could make or whatever that would open up that conversation to such that I could find out what that person needed.
Oh, that's great.
Financially or insurance wise or whatever. And you know, Gina, my business just started going up like that.
That's a great nugget right there.
Yeah. And that made a believer out of me. I thought, okay, God, I understand what you're saying now. And so I do that. And I think the reason that I wanted to tell this story to the community is that we're going to have a lot of videos on here. We're going to have short ones, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We're going to have longer ones that are training. We're going to be interviewing a lot of people. And the beautiful thing about it is it's not like back in the 1980s, that wasn't a recorded message from the pastor. You know, I couldn't go back and re-listen to that message and pick out other nuggets in it. I just had that one. But you as members of the community are going to have access to these videos as long as you want them. They're included in your monthly membership fee. You can go back and look at them 1,000,000 times if you were able to do that. Mm-hmm. And you can pick out one nugget and you can go back and see if there's another nugget in there. Because I guarantee you're not going to hear everything on one pass.
Exactly. Exactly. And it may not stay with you, just like what we were talking about earlier with the video, how interesting it was, and we had forgotten some of the details.
Yeah, and it's relevant. That's the thing that I found out about videos a long time ago. And I'm not doing everything in the videos that I know because I don't have all the equipment. I've got a nice little recording studio here and a professional microphone and everything, but I don't write my own music and all that kind of stuff for themes and background music and that. But the thing is that I learned that if a person only hears something, if they just read something and that's all they do, they'll remember 2 or 3% of it for 72 hours.
Right.
But if they read it and hear it at the same time, then that memory retention goes up. And if you look at the commercials, you understand that what I'm saying, because you hear and you see writing. There's both. Mm-hmm. There's music that increases retention. Mm-hmm. If they can tie it to a song you remember. That's why so many commercials come out and they have the oldies but goodies, or those kinds of things, because you tie it to music. And so when you go in the grocery store and you hear that music and you see that product on the shelf, bingo, you make a connection and
right.
You're going to buy it a lot of times. Then if you can put action with it, and then if you can make it relevant,
right,
all of those things together, a person retains about 98% of it for 72 hours.
Right.
And
And
so
if they hear it 3 times, they'll remember it for 90 days.
it's even more. That's right. And so that's the principles that we want to teach you in this video, is how to make the most out of these videos. And
Right.
if you have a question about what we say, if you don't understand it, if it seems like I say one thing and Gina says another or whatever, then we're not perfect. You know, I mean, tell you the truth, I look at these videos and I don't even remember saying what I said sometimes.
Exactly.
And, you know, I'm thinking as I go here. But the thing is that if you have a question, ask us the question. If you want us to talk about a problem you're having, tell us the problem. We may want to interview you and you can bring the problem up yourself and we brainstorm with you like we are together today. There's so many options. Just let your minds go crazy. You know, really.
We're not mind readers. So if you don't say it, we can't fix it. Or we can't talk about it or find the answer or the solution. It can't be solved without us knowing.
And I think I don't know how many connections you have on the internet. I've got between 35 and 40,000. And I figure between the two of us, we must have 50, 60, 70,000.
About 20,000.
Okay.
Maybe a little more, maybe 25,000, depending on, you know.
So we've got somewhere around 60,000 connections. And so if we don't know the answer, what I'm trying to say is that we've got a lot of people in a lot of different areas that we can talk to. We can bring them on as guests. There's nothing that we can't do in this community to help each other.
Absolutely.
This is authors helping authors. Are we competitors? Yes. In the strictest sense, no. Because you don't write like I write. I don't write like Gina writes.
Right.
Write like I do or you do. We can sit down and we can write 50,000 words on the same topic and not even come close to duplicating what.
That's right. And I would encourage everyone to watch all the different videos, because the same topic and having the and 2 different people talking about it, it's not going to be the same conversation. It'll be 2 totally different discussions where different points will be brought out.
Exactly.
So I would encourage everybody to watch the different videos, because you'll get those nuggets in those different videos that are going to be priceless later on.
Right. And it's kind of like, you know, somebody can say something to you and you not understand it, and you ask another person and they can basically maybe even say the same thing, but a different context, and you go, oh.
There you go.
The words were 90% the same, but something was different.
Well, that's like reading the Bible. It really is like reading the Bible, because a verse will mean one thing one day and something completely different when you're in a different situation. So that insight will come right out.
I've got to end with 1 or maybe 2 other things here, because this one's going to be a little longer than normal, but I'm on a tear here. So
yeah, you are. You go right ahead.
I worked with homeless men now since 1997. And I used to tell them that I would take any 10 of them and start a company in a heartbeat, because they were brilliant, talented, knowledgeable guys. They were just in bad circumstances. They either had an addiction, or they were severely abused, or for whatever reason they were homeless. Some of them were just run away. They just didn't want to do life where they were doing it anymore. And I used to tell them that you have to understand what a person's saying. And so in order to do that, you have to listen to every word, but not just listen to the words. You got to listen to the voice inflection.
Right.
And so I used to give them 6 words, 6 different ways, and I would make them tell me what I'm saying. So I'm going to give this to you today to give you an idea. Maybe you'll get something out of it, and maybe not. You may think I'm a crazy old man, and I admit to that too. But I used to say, okay, what am I saying? I didn't say you were stupid. 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 And we would have a lot of fun with that, you know, but they would get the meaning, you know. I mean, same words, totally different meanings, 6 different ways.
That's exactly right.
And so you have to understand when a person's saying something, you really have to connect and figure out, are they really saying what I thought they were saying? Well, if you're not sure, you can back up the video and you can listen again. You can listen to it 10 times, but you can get the meaning out. Or then you can say, Tom, I heard you say that. I listened to it 3 times. Are you saying this?
Right.
And then I can come back and say, that's exactly what I was saying. Or, no, close, but no cigar. So here's what I was saying.
Right, exactly.
And this is what we want to do. So I've been rambling. And well, one thing I wanted to say is that our website is new. It's a work in process. We're not anywhere near done with it. And so Gina's a new person to you. She'll have her profile on there. My profile will be on there so you can know who we are, what we do, maybe what gives us the right to say what we're saying, you know, all those kinds of things. So we want us to vet, or want you to vet us just like we vet you.
Right.
So it's important. This is a relationship.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks for listening. We love you. And until next time, have a great day.